Soldier Boy is a film based on the true story of the youngest warrior of World War II. The movie opens in Russia with a family of 3 enjoying a peaceful moment by the river. Sergei Alyoshkov, the youngest at 6 years old, boasts to his older brother and mother about climbing a tree. Suddenly, German fighter jets fly overhead. The mother urgently tells the children to hide in the bushes, but Sergei, unafraid, insists on staying and using his slingshot. To everyone's surprise, he successfully hits one of the jets, causing it to explode. However, when he looks around, his family is gone. Sergei wakes up from this nightmare, calling out for his mother. Just then, a neighbor woman rushes in, thanking God that he is alive. She informs Sergei that his mother and brother are dead, and the Germans have attacked their village. Unable to fully understand the tragedy, Sergei refuses to leave, hoping his family will return. The woman urges him to escape, and as soldiers approach their house, she helps Sergei escape through the window. Sadly, she is shot dead before she can follow him. Now alone, Sergei runs through the village, witnessing the devastation around him. The once peaceful neighborhood is burning, and he calls for his mother in desperation, but there is no reply. With his family gone and no one left to turn to, Sergei is forced to flee, navigating the dangers of war all by himself. The film sets the stage for the young boy's incredible journey through the horrors of war, highlighting his resilience and bravery. Sergei, now lost in the woods, calls out for his mother, desperate for her to come and find him. As night falls, he spends his first night alone in the jungle. The next morning, he drinks water from a river, but soon enemy soldiers approach. Realizing the danger, Sergei quickly hides under the roots of a tree. A snake slithers by, but Sergei stays silent and still, more terrified of the soldiers than the snake. The soldiers stop to eat by the river, and once they leave, Sergei sneaks out and takes their leftover food, devouring it hungrily. Despite this, he remains exhausted, having not eaten properly in 2 days and with no clear destination. By the end of the day, Sergei is barely able to continue, his body weak from hunger and fatigue. He stumbles and falls, but refuses to stop. As he walks, he finds wild berries and eats them quickly. Suddenly, an explosion rocks the ground behind him, leaving him dizzy and disoriented. He hallucinates someone approaching him, but even in his daze, he bravely stands up, threatening the imagined figure with a rifle, though he has none. He limps forward, but his strength fades, and he collapses unconscious. Meanwhile, 2 soldiers find him. The scene shifts to a Russian army base, where Commander Kuznetsov waits for his patrol soldiers. They arrive, carrying the injured boy. The soldiers tell Kuznetsov that Sergei is on their side, and the boy finally opens up, introducing himself. The soldiers laugh, finding the child's bravery endearing. They joke with him as he shakes hands with the commander, feeling affection for the boy. The soldiers provide him with water and food, tending to him as he rests. Even the usually cold commander shows a softer side as he looks after Sergei. A nurse named Katya tends to his wounds, and she too is charmed by the boy's spirit. Sergei, eager to play the part of a soldier, asks her to draw a tank on his wounds, declaring that he wants to be a soldier when he grows up. The injured soldiers, touched by Sergei's innocence, engage with him, and his presence lightens their heavy hearts. Sergei is fascinated by the commander's gun and badge, and the commander patiently answers all of his questions, even allowing him to play with his honorary pistol, after removing the bullets. The boy proudly shows the commander the tank drawn on his stomach, boasting about being a soldier himself. Sergei heals quickly, and the soldiers spend all their free time with him. They bring him food sent by their families and let him play with their binoculars. One day, a soldier approaches the commander, asking him to let Sergei stay with the battalion. The soldiers have grown fond of the boy, considering him one of their own. His presence lightens the burden of war. However, the commander insists that Sergei be sent to an orphanage for his safety. The following day, the enemy attacks, and many soldiers are wounded. A vehicle arrives to take Sergei to the orphanage, and the commander breaks the news to the boy, gifting him a wooden honorary pistol. Sergei hugs the commander, expressing concern for his safety. This act of warmth melts the commander's resolve, and he decides to keep Sergei with the battalion. He asks the boy to stay as his son. That night, the soldiers find little soldier clothes for Sergei, thrilled to have him stay with them. The commander wakes Sergei, and when the boy wears the uniform and runs around, the soldiers fondly call him their little soldier boy. As the number of injured soldiers grows, Sergei is eager to help in any way he can. He begins bringing water to the thirsty soldiers, determined to make himself useful. One soldier, unable to read his family's letter because of a bandage over his eyes, asks Sergei to read it for him. Although Sergei cannot read, he takes the letter and starts making up the contents, claiming that the soldier's cow is safe at home. When the soldier points out that he doesn't have a cow, the others laugh and encourage him to go along with the story. Sergei continues to read everyone's letters in a similar manner, lifting their spirits with his imaginative tales. Meanwhile, Katya and the commander share quiet moments together, each clearly attracted to the other but hesitant to confess their feelings. Later, Sergei proudly announces that he is part of the orderly position in the battalion and begins introducing himself as such. However, his innocence is challenged when he sees a soldier's station destroyed during an attack. The commander teaches Sergei the importance of paying respect to fallen soldiers, instructing him to remove his hat in honor of the dead. The next day, Sergei eagerly requests a mission, and the commander gives him the task of distributing letters among the soldiers. He does so with efficiency, even managing to get the soldiers to dance for him, much to their amusement. Later, Sergei ventures a little too far from the base with his binoculars. While playing, he notices someone's leg moving from inside a haystack. He rushes back to the battalion and informs the soldiers of his discovery. Although skeptical, the soldiers follow Sergei, and when they approach the haystack, they find 2 German spies hiding underneath. The spies are arrested, and Sergei is praised for his sharp observation. That night, the commander shares the legal papers for Sergei's adoption, officially making him his son. Knowing the commander's feelings for Katya, Sergei decides to help him confess, but when they approach her, they see her talking to another man. Misunderstanding the situation, they assume she has moved on. Their moment of confusion is cut short when the base is attacked again by the Germans. This time, Sergei helps the soldiers with all his might. He takes ammunition to the front line, but the soldiers there tell him to go back to the shed, insisting it's too dangerous for him outside. Once back in the shed, Sergei finds the commander and others in a panic. The phone connection to the colonel has been lost. A soldier is sent to fix the broken wires, but Sergei follows him and discovers that the soldier has been fatally wounded. Determined to help, Sergei asks the dying soldier how to fix the wires and does it himself. Miraculously, the connection is restored, and more troops are called in, saving everyone's life. At just 6 years old, Sergei's quick thinking and bravery make a difference. Later, we see the commander and Katya talking by the river. The commander, finally revealing his feelings, confesses his love for her and asks her to be Sergei's mother. Katya, overjoyed, is about to respond when a soldier approaches with a letter for the commander, informing him that they've been dispatched from the base. The next day, all the soldiers, including Sergei, leave for their new base. However, as they make their way there, they encounter a minefield, causing several vehicles to explode. The commander is injured in the blast, and Sergei's close friend, the group's orderly, dies in the explosion. Sergei cries and hugs the commander, devastated by the loss. They carry the wounded and continue their journey to the new base. When they finally reach the new base, they meet the commander's leader, the general. The general is impressed by Sergei's courage and ambition, congratulating the commander for having such a smart, brave boy. The next day, their division is awarded a guard's banner, and Sergei is also honored. The general gives Sergei his own badge, and the boy proudly promises to save his country. However, that night, their base is attacked brutally, and the commander is trapped under the ruins.